Hello, Libra. Welcome to your mid-January love reading. Princess India here. If you're new, if you're family, welcome back. We're resurrecting a throwback here. I have not done a love reading and I don't even know how long. It has been months. It literally had to be somewhere around the middle of 2019. But I'm bringing them back in the Romance Angels, you know what I'm saying? But I apologize for the different setup. I'm looking at my laptop over here because I'm rendering the Pisces video. And it won't, it's letting me record, but I look very animatronic. And I think that happened with y'all last month. So I'm sorry that things look a little different. I don't know if you really care. You can't really see my desk, but I'm going to show you the cards anyway. But anywho, so we're starting off with an energy between you and your person of interest. And I'm using the Romance Angels and clarifying with the Moonology deck. So I'm starting to have a thing for it. And then we're going into the Tarot of Sexual Magic for you guys cards. So Spirit, please give me an energy between Libra and their person of interest, please, Spirit. Please, Spirit. Libra and their person of interest. Okay, we got two cards. If I could get my life together right quick. All right, we have passion. Allow your heart and soul to sing with joy. And then we have worth waiting for. Divine timing is at work in your love life. Wow, that's really good. I kind of get two different vibes from this, actually. And of course, I'm reading for all Librans, but I feel for those of you who are single, wow, I'm actually feeling this kind of backwards for single people, which is interesting. For my single people who are desiring a romantic partner, there's a need to understand that divine timing is at work in your love life, meaning that divine timing is taking into account who you are, where you are, and what you're doing, right? So it's more or less the person that you guys are desiring to be in your life, or the type of partner that you guys would like to have in your life. It's more or less, I'm feeling it like, if that's what you desire, you can have it, but it's kind of drawing attention to what it is that you're doing in the meantime. So in other words, if there is not a person that's in your life right now, right? It's more or less, and this is reminding me, I said this with Pisces and with Capricorn or Virgo. All of those are such a blur because I felt like I was telling the same story. But I'm feeling it similar to that in the sense of, with Pisces, it kept coming up with, what are you doing now? So it's like, if you're single, it's like, are you making the most of your life now? And for my single Librans, I'm feeling that's the message that I'm supposed to stress. And where I say that I'm feeling it backwards is that, this is interesting. For my single people, this is me just talking about single people here. For my single people, I feel past relationships that you guys have been in, habitually, the key characteristic of the partnership was always passion. You know what I mean? You meet the person and there's chemistry and it's electric. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, you're just taken over by the emotions. You know what I mean? For the person, it's like literally looking at how this dude is with the chick. It's like, that's kind of like the vibe. But the message I'm getting specifically for single people is that, and I guess this is, well, it wouldn't necessarily be a rhetorical question. It would more, because those don't have answers. This is something that, you would want to answer, but this would more or less be a reflective question of, how did those pan out? It's like all the relationships you were in where this person, came in and swept you off of your feet and, had you feeling all of these things. It's like, how did those pan out? Right? Because you're single now, right? So it's more or less posing that in question form to kind of think about that. So it's more or less saying to me that passion is more or less the byproduct of, a stable, secure foundation and knowing a person, emotional reciprocity, and all of these good things that a healthy relationship entails, you know what I'm saying? but it's more or less one of the red flags is when things are moving quickly and someone comes on strong with a lot of passion. And I say that to say that's like a little side note, because I feel more or less you guys are single now because you are waiting for the right person. But the gap between these two cards is, so this is a lot like what was coming up in Pisces and Capricorn and Virgo's reading. So if you have those in your chart, go watch them. But it's more or less saying, like, in this interim time, did I say that word right? Interim, I guess, time, is more or less being focused on yourself and being the best you possible, in so many words, keeping in mind what went awry in past relationships. And I don't mean keeping it in mind like beating yourself up over it, but I mean like really taking time to sit and reflect on what has gone awry. For those of you out there that are that intend on getting the woke book, I would say that would be a really good focus, because the whole reason why I put that together, because it's a sense of, 10 years of self-reflection. It's like 10 years of guided self-reflection. So for my single Libras out there, or, if somebody cross-watching this, whatever the case may be, in so many words, this is work that you can do with that workbook, because you're literally looking at, each year going back, and you're looking for these patterns that continuously happen. So something such as that, it's like, how did your relationships pan out? On paper, you can literally list out like how this panned out with this particular person. I met them in this month. We were together by this month, and seeing what the true time frame was and things of the sort. So I feel that you guys can garner a lot of lessons from that. So it's like, whether you do it with the woke book or you just do it yourself, it's like you can garner a lot of lessons from your past experience, and know that when, like with you being single now, it's like it's worth waiting for the right person. You know what I mean? Because you have an arsenal of information from your past to learn from, to apply to your life now. Now, for my people that are partnered, I feel that some of you are feeling that you're with the right person, and this passion has more or less become, and it feels all consuming, good Lord. The word that comes to mind is engulfed. You know what I mean? So it's more or less, it was worth waiting for the right person. So there's a group of my single Libras that are, everything I just said, so I'm not redundant. And then there's another group of you who waited for the right person, and things are feeling, super great in your relationship right now. So I'm going to go ahead and clarify these. This is so interesting. I like how that worked out. Because I know me as a single person, man, I never quite understood how love readings go for single people as a single person. It's like, what am I really looking for here? Because I'm just like, isn't that just like my own personal development is preparing me for a relationship? Isn't that how that works? But I like how that came out, because, I don't want to exclude single people. I mean, I can. I'm single too, y'all. You know what I'm saying? But I like how that happened just now. That's dope. Shout out to my single Libra people out there. Keep hope alive. So I'm going to go ahead and clarify this with our Moonology deck to see if there's any additional information that we can get for you guys before we jump into these here cards. You know what I'm saying? Whoa. What are you doing? Work through your fears. Oh my goodness. So I would say that both for my single people as well as my coupled Librans. For my single people, I would say any fears that you guys have in reference to relationships or commitment, vulnerability, emotional availability, or just your own personal fears, those are highlighted the end of January going into February. So it's identifying those things and creating a strategy to start kind of knocking them down and working through them. You know what I mean? Taking baby steps. The thing that's coming to my mind is immersion therapy. That I don't do that fully. I mean, that's an intervention I'll use in therapy sometimes, depending on what the issue is. But like with like exposure therapy or immersion therapy, it's more or less like if a person has a fear, it's like gradually introducing yourself to it bit by bit so that you can overcome the fear. So not saying that like you guys are literally going to go through therapy for that, but I mean that technique is something that would be helpful. Like if you've been single for a long time and you know, not engaging with people or networking. I'm glad I said that. Okay, that was accidental. Freudian slip on point. So say if you've been single for a long time and you haven't really been engaging with people, networking would be a great place to start. You know, like with a professional organization or a community organization or something along those lines. So it's like not jumping straight into dating, you know, but networking, so you're meeting, you know, other like-minded people in some sort of social setting or what have you, so you can kind of, you know, get your bearings back with engaging with people and then slowly graduate to maybe going on a date. You know what I'm saying? And then for my coupled people, I feel that collectively for you guys, I feel that's more or less as a challenge for you guys. I mean, for single people, I feel that as well. It's more or less a challenge to work through your fears because, you know, relationships, they graduate into different stages. You know what I mean? And it's more or less like the first stage of every relationship everywhere in the world is like the honeymoon phase, right? And then after that, there's like a disillusionment that happens, and that's natural because it's like the working stage of the relationship. So that's like when, you know, the in love phase, like the honeymoon phase, and this is like research that actually backs us up. Libra, I don't know how your reading is panning out like this, but I'm going with it. But there's actually research that supports this, according to research with, you know, newlywed couples and things of the sort. The honeymoon phase can last for up to a year and a half into a marriage. And after that, it's kind of like the rose-colored glasses come off. So like the honeymoon phase is like that phase when, you know, you're high on oxytocin and your partner can do no wrong. It's like every, you know, hang up and habit about them is just so damn adorable. Like I just love how he leaves his underwear on the floor. You know, I just love that she leaves everything in disarray and a mess, you know, leaving her hair extensions everywhere. That's so sexy. You know what I'm saying? So when you're in that phase, your partner can literally do no wrong. And that's more or less your building stage in a relationship, or that, you know, connection enmeshment stage that can last for up to a year and a half. After that, when you get into the working stage of the relationship, there's a sense of disillusionment. And like I say, it can last up to a year and a half. For some people, it might be 3 months, whatever the case may be. But after that, in the working stage, it's a level of disillusionment that happens because it's like, you know, those rose-colored glasses come off and you see things for what they really are. So it's like someone leaving their hair extensions all over the place. Somebody leaving their underwear on the floor starts to get annoying and is not really cute anymore. But that's totally normal. And with a lot of partnerships, that's usually the space where a lot of relationships or marriages end up breaking down, but the intention of it is to kind of readjust in a sense, because you're dealing with the person in more of a reality, in reality. So it's like all of the blinders have been taken off and you're dealing with things for what they really are. And it's during that stage that healthy, long-lasting partnerships can really be cultivated. But because it's so much of a conflicting time, that's usually like, you know, with marriages, when marriages break down, is like within that first, they say 3 to 7 years, but I find it's usually like within those first 3 years, after like the first 6 months to a year of the honeymoon phase. It's like, and sometimes for some people, they could literally be 3 to 6 months, but it's like within that 3-year span is usually like the make or break for a lot of couples. You know what I mean? But so I feel that's what's going on with you guys. I feel more or less it's like, and I'm not saying this to freak anyone out. It's more or less like shadow aspects are coming to the surface for both people. You know what I mean? And I feel there's a need to reground oneself in the love that you have for the person and what it is that, you know, like the fact that, like, for those of you who are with someone that you really want to be with, I don't know why I have this sense, because it's 14 minutes in, y'all, and I'm just going off of 3 oracle cards right now. I literally feel like And I don't know, but I literally feel like what comes out in these cards, I really feel like is probably going to be totally different than what I see up here. I don't know why I have that sense. Whew. But anywho, but yeah, man. So I feel that those shadow aspects are coming to the surface. That's natural, that's normal, that's healthy. But I feel that one would have to remind themselves of why it is you fell in love with this person in the first place during this challenging time. But the purpose of this is to bring you closer together, because you're working through the fears together. So you want to make sure that you're not projecting. And that's where I say where self-awareness is so important. So it's like you kind of know if you slip up and you're like projecting, because you're kind of like, okay, let me not do that because I know that's my thing and I do that. You know what I mean? So you can kind of catch yourself. But if you're not aware of your own shadow aspects and the other person's not, you inadvertently end up projecting your shadows onto each other, and then it becomes this whole ordeal and you end up breaking up and getting divorced and things of the sort. So anywho, let's get into the cards for my Libras. That was interesting. Dude, I don't know what's going on with me and Oracle cards now. It's like I get so many more messages from oracles for some strange reason. The first card out we have on Libra side is the Seven of Wands and Cross Watchers. Most of my cross watchers, when I used to do the spread, would resonate over here with the sign I was reading for, which would be the sign that they're cross watching for, and not on the person of interest side. But, you know, wherever you feel like it sounds like I'm talking about, you go with it. So anywho, so we have the Seven of Wands coming out first for my Libra people. And I feel this, and I know this is a Wands card, but I really feel this feels like, okay, balance in the sense of, because I wanted to say I feel it heavily as a communication card. But, you know, with the Seven of Wands, it's like we're talking about standing your ground and things of the sort. But I'm feeling this more in the sense of you guys standing your ground, like being anchored in your truth, which is the challenge here, because it's like being yourself and standing your ground without crossing another person's boundaries, right? So that to me feels like the lesson of what Libra is going to be learning in relation to partnerships this month. So it's more or less how can I speak my truth? And I'm saying this in question form, but it's like the lesson more or less would be, how is it that I can be who I am, not deny myself, not morph myself to be something that I'm not, right? Stand in my truth, but also respect another person's at the same time. And that's funny because Libra, balance and scales and things of the sort. But that's like this first sense that I get from this. It's more or less speaking the... Dag nabbit, I'm so mad. I should have put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I just got a spam call from the United States of America. That's what caller ID said. It's like potential spam, United States of America. Is someone calling me from America while I'm in America? I don't know. But anywho, with this Seven of Wands, the thing that I'm feeling with this is that finding that sweet spot between the two. You know what I mean? And it's ironic. That was actually something I was pondering about before I sat down here, not necessarily this specifically, but I thought of that quote from Mean Girls that was like, calling someone ugly isn't going to make you pretty, right? And so I just remembered that, and I was like, and I was like, that kind of reminds me of something I always say a lot of the time is, I don't need someone else to be wrong, or I don't need to make someone wrong in order for me to be right. You know what I mean? I feel like we can both be right because we're two different human beings, two different backgrounds, two different lifestyles, two different perceptions. So it's not to say that it has to be like a power struggle where, you know, if I feel that I'm right about my feelings towards something, that I need you to be necessarily wrong. And where this kind of becomes relevant in the sense of like relationships is each person in a partnership has the right to their own feelings, like how they feel about something. So like, say hypothetically, Libra's partner can do something that hurts Libra, right? But their intention wasn't to hurt you, but the byproduct of whatever action they took hurt you, right? So Libra has a right to feel hurt. because that's your personal right that someone else can't take away from you, right? But your partner also doesn't have the right to say, well, my intention was not to hurt you, so you shouldn't be hurt, right? Because we don't have the authority to tell another human being how they should or should not feel, because that's your personal right. You can understand and take into account that person's intention. Like if they give an explanation of like, hey, you know, the meeting ran long, I didn't call you, right? This is your partner saying this to you. The meeting ran long, I didn't call you. And this is how a healthy relationship would go. And you're like, that hurt me. And your partner's like, I apologize for that hurting you, but that wasn't my intention. I'm sorry that I did. That wasn't my intention at all, right? So what this type of balance I'm talking about would look like, and I hope y'all are following me, because I don't know how the heck y'all are reading this so wordy, but I'm here for it. So anywho, so how this would work, like what I'm describing, is more or less you guys coming to a consensus. Your partner didn't call you to tell you that the meeting ran long. Their intention was that they didn't say like, I'm not going to call Libra to hurt Libra's feelings. It's just they didn't think about it, but you're hurt. You have a right to be hurt, just like this person has a right to say, you know, that wasn't my intention. But this is one of those situations where, and my battery's dying, what is happening in America? But this is one of those situations where you both can be right. Your partner can have the right to say that that wasn't my intention, right? And not expect you to feel any different, right? And you have the right to feel hurt. But on the other side, you also wouldn't want to say, well, you did hurt me and you need to know that whatever, because that would be the reverse of this person being understanding, if that's making sense. I feel like I'm explaining two things at the same time. So it's more or less worst case scenario. Let's go with the opposing side. So if we say that like in an unhealthy relationship, how this would look would more or less be like if the person is like, you know, that wasn't my intention, and because that wasn't my intention, you should not be upset, right? That's like unhealthy. That's how this person is standing their ground and they're overstepping your boundaries, right? This person coming to you and apologizing and you saying that that hurt me, so that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that that wasn't your intention. You hurt me. That would also be you overstepping your boundaries. But the healthy medium between those two is you stating that you're hurt, your person recognizing you're hurt, apologizing that they hurt you, them clarifying that wasn't their intention, and you being understanding of that. So you still have the right to, both of you, to hold your truth without crossing each other's boundaries. I hope and pray that that made sense. But I feel like that's the great deal of what the lesson is going to be this month. So it's more or less like, and the thing I'm hearing now is passive aggression. So this feels to me like for my partnered Librans and my single people, you can learn from this too, because this is more or less like you guys being able to gauge into another person's life to give you insight into things that you may be aware that you want to work on. But it's more or less being honest about your feelings, but also having respect for the person. So it's not stepping into any form of passive aggression and, you know, I'm going to act some type of way and you figure out what it is that's going on because you know what it is that you did wrong. Because truth be told, a lot of people are usually oblivious to this. So just like kind of how I explained that situation, like with the whole phone call thing, it's like how one can interpret that when that wasn't a person's intention. So that's where I say like communication comes up for me with the Seven of Wands and why that's so important in partnerships, right? Like to be open and honest about how one is feeling and being direct and forthright in one's communication, but also keeping in mind like respecting your partner as well. So it's respecting yourself as well as your partner. So finding that middle ground between the two. Y'all, this is bananas. I got 4 freaking cards on my table and I've been saying a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm going to pull a card for, I think I'm going to pull 2 more cards for y'all. I was about to jump over to the person of interest because I don't want this to be astronomically long. But it's like, this is really what it's feeling like to me. I got a lot from those oracles, y'all. It's like, it's really looking to me that for my single Libra people, it's about you guys doing self-work and shadow work and self-reflection and things of the sort. And for my coupled people, it's literally you guys taking the lessons that you learned as a single person and now having to readjust and integrate them into a partnership, in so many words. That's interesting. I'm here for it though. Dude, and my cards are sticking together like no more want to come out. I'm gonna go ahead and follow my first mind spirit, because this is me integrating my lessons that I learned. Y'all talking about pick a card for the person of interest, and I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna do that. That's bananas. But I feel that lessons are really centralizing around that. It's learning that sweet spot and that balance between standing your ground and respecting another person's boundaries and vice versa. Because that's really what a healthy relationship in action looks like. So I feel, in so many words, for Libras, I feel like a lot of fears, maybe from past wounds, and I mean it could be from anything from past relationships or friendships, family of origin or whatever. I feel like this, argument or whatever it is between the two of you, I feel like that's gonna bring up some old stuff, but the key is that's being brought up so you can bring it into the light and heal it and ensure that you're not projecting onto your partner. Now, for your person of interest, 4 cards came out for them. What is happening in America? The first card out that we have is the Wheel of Fortune. And y'all, until I learn otherwise, I love this deck for love readings, but the reason why I'm not showing them is because, there's naked people in them. And I don't know how that works, like with the whole thing with YouTube now. On the creator side, there's this whole thing with like kid laws and stuff like that. I ain't trying to get my channel shut down. I'm just saying. So, anywho, on Vimeo, I'll show you the naked people. You know what I'm saying? I just got an update from the pattern. So, anywho, the first card that we have for your person of interest, we have the Wheel of Fortune. We have the 8 of Swords. We have the 7 of Swords in the reverse. That's interesting. And then we have, is that another card? No, it's not. The 7 of Cups. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read them upside down in the reverse. And my attention is being brought to these 2 7s in this 8. That's interesting. Okay, so here's the deal. This to me is relating very much to this energy over here. And I'm not sure, Libra, if you're going to be the initiator of it, but how it's looking for me right now, there is. For those of you who have been in a partnership for some time, with your person of interest, I feel either you guys taking this stance, this is either going to turn things around for you guys and how it is that you're relating to each other to kind of open things up a tad bit. And I'm wondering, oh, Libra, is that y'all? Have y'all been overstepping your partner's boundaries with just feeling as if just y'all are right? Let me find out. Because with this 7 of Swords, it's like I'm feeling with your person, like how you guys are relating to each other. Let me just say that there needs to be a shift in how the two of you are relating to each other. But I'm also seeing that this could be something external that could cause this, because I'm looking back at this waiting for, worth waiting for, and this whole divine timing is at work in your love life. The Wheel of Fortune for me is representative of divine timing. So with your person of interest, it's something that's outside of both of your control that occurs. And I feel like it's more or less, and I don't know, maybe could it literally be you hearing this reading and hearing what I said? I don't know. It's more or less not that something gets revealed per se, but it's more or less, I feel there's a level of you seeing things from this person's perspective, in so many words. And this is going into the same theme of what I was talking about with the other signs. It's like with the Seven of Swords in the reverse, this is another one of my little erectile dysfunction cards, but I also see this as an emotional disconnect. It's more or less when one partner is in their head and overcome by fears, and that kind of causes them to emotionally shut down. But it's like, I feel this in a sense of like not being heard. That's kind of like what it feels like for me. It's like there's a disconnect. And like I say, whatever side you resonate on, because this to me is the why that the person of interest or you, whatever side you resonate on, is feeling like this. So it's almost like a disconnect. The person is emotionally shutting down because they don't feel heard in a sense. So it's kind of like a person who is in a partnership where they're always wrong and you can't do anything right. You know what I mean? But I'm seeing with the Seven of Cups in the reverse that that there's clarity that comes in reference to that. So I don't like, and with this whole divine intervention thing, I'm not gonna say that, because you know, I don't even want to say that in the sense of like something chaos and calamity is going to happen. That's why I said it could be something as simple as you listening to this reading. It could literally be something that simple where it's like you have an aha moment and it's like, whoa. And suddenly it's like you're starting to see things from your partner's perspective, because I feel a sense of headstrongness with this. You know what I mean? So it's like not hearing the other person out, you know? But I feel like this person over here is kind of struggling. So it's more or less with them, like with the Eight of Swords I'm seeing here, it's like a desire for empathy. You know what I'm saying? Because I know this is hella stereotypical for me to say that with Librans, but it's like, but I mean, I say the same thing. I'm a Gemini rising. It's like air sign. It's like headspace. It's like processing emotions intellectually. You know what I'm saying? 1 + 1 = 2 kind of things. So it's like feeling my way is the right way, you know, but not in like an egotistical asshole sense. It's just like being a person who is very assertive and just the false assumption that my way is right. But I'm seeing on this side, and like I said, whatever side you resonate on, I'm seeing with this side, it's like this person feels kind of shut down, because it's like what they're desiring is empathy. Like, I need you to see it the way that I see it. So this could be a person who's very into, you know, one person who's very logical and another person who's very emotional. Not saying this is legit a water sign, but that's like hypothetically if this is like a water sign person. But I feel that it's something that occurs that gives, and it could be vice versa, something that occurs that allows them to see how you feel, Libra, and them seeing how they've been enforcing, you know, their own self sense of rightness on you, or vice versa, because it could go both ways. But all in all, the whole thing that I'm saying is here, there's a disconnect. And where this comes back into this passion card and working through your fears is I feel that both people, whether it be Libra or their person, it's like working out of old defense mechanisms, or it's being triggered and responding by old coping mechanisms. For some, that might be shutting down. For others, that may be intellectualizing, because intellectualizing is actually a defense mechanism. When a person is afraid to feel emotions, it's like they'll shut their heart down and just deal with everything intellectually. You know what I mean? So I'm seeing that there's a lack of empathy within the partnership. So it doesn't really look super bad to me. It's just like I was saying before with the oracle cards, it's kind of like a challenge in the relationship, but overcoming it helps you grow. But I feel the whole key is here is learning that one is not always right. Your approach isn't always the best approach, and more or less putting yourself in your partner's shoes. You know what I'm saying? To see how it is they're feeling empathetically. You know what I'm saying? Because sympathy is like, oh, I feel sorry for you. That must really suck to be in your shoes. You know what I'm saying? But empathy is actually putting yourself in that person's shoes. How would it feel if I, you know, was in their position? But I feel like there's some external force with this Wheel of Fortune and this whole divine timing type of thing. I feel like something's happening just right for you to have that epiphany to see like, whoa. Or maybe somebody doing something like that to you, like a friend or, You know what I'm saying? Or at work or something like that, to where you make that connection of like, oh my gosh, this is what I do to my husband, my wife. This is what I do to my boyfriend, my girlfriend, or what have you. You know what I mean? And then you're able to kind of meet this person halfway. Why is all my attention being brought to the Seven of Chalasas? That's interesting. Yeah. I feel with this, it's like, oh, wow, that's 3 sevens. Ah, that's interesting. That's 3 sevens. The 7 of Wands, the 7 of Cups, and the 7 of Swords. And then this Wheel of Fortune, and then this 8 of Swords. But it's just specifically this 8 here. And this feels like, and I'm not saying this to scare anyone. Now that I'm looking at this, this feels like karma, okay? But not like comeuppance karma, like, you know, universal law of cause and effect karma. So this to me really feels like you experiencing something outside of the dynamics of this relationship, like at work or something of the sort, or with your friends, to where you're being put in the same position that your partner is, but it feels like an epiphany to where you get it, where it's like, holy shit, that's what I've been doing to them. This doesn't feel good. You know what I mean? So what I'm seeing with the 7 of Cups, and that's why this is so interesting. With me seeing these 3 sevens, it's more or less like how I said with the 7 of Wands. That's the lesson. So it's almost to me like this is what the lesson is going to be about. But now it's like I'm looking at it literally, like illustratively. It's like, this is the lesson of the month with the 7 of Wands. So me giving you guys a whole narrative with that. This is spirit like coming in. So you're like changing places with your partner. So this is like the outside thing that comes in. So it's more or less you realizing a lot of the things that I said here, whether it's intellectualizing or feeling as if your way is the right way or not hearing them out. And it's like, then you start to realize, oh my gosh, like the disconnect. That's the reason why we don't feel so united, or, you know what I'm saying? And then it's like, I'm seeing with the 7 of Cups in the reverse, it's like having that clarity and making the decision to move forward with that clarity. So it's like a change of behavior. So it's like, to me, I feel like for both of you, it's like an epic lesson, but like a blessing in the long run, because it's like I said, wherever you resonate, your partner or you get what you want in the long run. You learn an epic lesson and make an adjustment in your life in the direction of, I say like an adjustment, like a modification, but it's not like a repressed type of thing. It's a positive modification that's in the benefit of your relationship. Because I really feel that it's like you just didn't see it that way. Like, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't feel like you're being like an asshole and a manipulator and all this other kind of stuff. It just feels like you didn't see it from their perspective, and now you do. And it's like making that shift. You know what I'm saying? And I feel more or less, this is really good. I like this. So I feel more or less for your person, or for you, whatever the case may be, it's like passion is reignited in the relationship. And I feel like with this whole worth waiting for thing, oh my gosh, if this is like a new couple, like a newly married couple, this would be so goddamn adorable. So for your partner who felt not heard, it's literally like this was worth waiting for. Like it was worth the struggle because now your partner gets it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I feel like that reignites the passion and the partnership. And it's almost like, and why I said it's cute for if it's like a newlywed couple, because it's like your first like big fight. You know what I'm saying? It's so cute. I like it. This was long as hell, Libra, but whatever. We're at freaking 20 minutes and the freaking United States called me. So I don't even know how long the last video was. I literally think we were like at 15 or 16 minutes or something. So this daddy like 30 minutes long. I don't give a damn. I don't care. Whatever. I'm here for it. I'm tripped out at the fact that all of that came from 3 oracles in the freaking 7 of Wands. That's insane. So you can ask a yes or no question if you like. That is freaking bananas, y'all. I don't care. I'm a little mad that I have to edit this now. I need to know to turn my phone off or do not disturb next time around. Okay, we have the X. We have yes in a few months. We have Taurus. Man, Taurus been popping up all over the place. And Capricorn and question mark, which means this could be in the person's sun, moon, or rising. So the answer to your question is yes in a few months. We have the X, we have Taurus, and we have Capricorn. And I'm going to throw out some of the zodiac cards and the initial cards before we go over to Vimeo. On Vimeo, I'm going to, whoa, are these backwards? What is going on? I'm going to, I'm so confused. I'm going to play out the rest of these cards to see if there's any additional information we can gather from these. And I'm also going to look at how your person is thinking and feeling about you at present, my friends. But I mean, it's looking good though. Like, that's so adorable. I think more or less what I'm gonna look at specifically with this, just because this is a unique situation, is kind of like when I talk about playing this out, it's kind of looking at what can help you with this. You know, like if you feel that there's like some level of understanding, just like kind of tangible action steps you could take that will help you out. The three cards that came out, we have U, we have, don't you laugh at my handwriting, E, and we have Q. So this could be the person's first, middle, or last name. We're going to pull some of our zodiac cards in this piece. Whoa, that one wanted to come out. We have Capricorn again. Interesting. That's fascinating. Capricorn, you just popping all up and everybody reading, huh? It's like that. I think in Pisces reading, I kept saying Virgo, but I think I meant Capricorn. Whoa, speak of the devil. Not really the devil. Pisces. Pisces aren't devils. They're angels. I love Pisces. All right, and Sagittarius. Oh gosh, I have 10% on my battery. Libra. Let me show you something about being a Taurus, man, and how much I don't like change. Just literally me switching to my phone from my laptop, that change is too much for me, and I literally feel so discombobulated. It's that real for me. Like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm all over the place. Fumbles McGee over here. But anywho, I'm going to go over to Vimeo, so if you're about that life, follow me over there. If not, I still love your freaking face, and I will see you guys soon and later. Deuces.